but welcome to Tea Time with Taylor. This is a monthly webinar series that I put on every month. My name is Taylor Clifford. I am the program manager of client engagement with Performance Tracker and the J3 Tech Solutions team, which is the technology branch of Johnson Consulting Group. I know it's a bit of a mouthful there, but I'm essentially the oracle of Performance Tracker. I hold all the knowledge and I try and pass that knowledge down to current users as well as anyone who's interested in joining the program during these monthly sessions. So if you have heard of Performance Tracker or are interested of learning more, you're in the right place. I will say this session today is geared a little bit more towards current clients. I want to make sure that now that we're in a new year, that everyone is starting their data off right and getting 2026 kicked off with a fresh start. So let me go ahead and get started here. Now, I will say, even though mics are disabled in this webinar, just for time purposes, and to keep it all clean, we do have the Q&A functionality enabled. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it there or in the chat, and I promise I will touch base on them at the end of the call. Today, we're going to go over a few of the things that we brought to our clients in 2025. Just a bit of a recap, a really short, touch base on some of the new features we released. So if anyone is not currently taking advantage of any of those and you want to, please reach out to me and my team. They're all included. There's no extra sell here. That's definitely not what this webinar is. Response rate improvements. So, over the last several years, definitely, but I would say even in the last 2 years, it's just gone up exponentially because everyone on the platform has been doing such a good job of trying to collect those emails and mobile numbers and get their response rates up where they need to be. So I'll go over a couple of the stats that we ended 2025 with, and then some tips for improving your response rates in the new year, making sure that you really start things off right. With 2026 being a new year, we want to make sure that you guys have full access to the visibility of your data. You can look at maybe you started the platform in 2025, for example, and you want to take a look at how everything worked out in terms of your team collecting email addresses and mobile numbers and putting those into the point of sale system. And then you are going to be able to see how to do that moving forward. I'll also go over how to audit your data. So there are a couple of ways Performance Tracker can show you how emails are sending successfully, for example. If they're bouncing, if emails are being left out, if contact names are being left out. Let's say your next of kin isn't even filled out in the system appropriately. You want to make sure that you get all of that in there, and I can help you audit that. And then I will close out with just a touch on our business consulting services that are available. We do have our quarterly leadership and management course coming up for this spring. So I want to give you guys a chance to sign up for that if you would like to do so. So here's a look back at what we did in 2025 for new features that were released to all current users in Performance Tracker. We built a survey detail report, which is a monthly report that is emailed automatically to everyone in the platform, showing their year-to-date and monthly stats for survey results. It does include an attachment that has responses available for you to look and print out. I do want to show you a sample of this report just because I feel like, me stating what it is isn't enough. It's an amazing report that was created and we've received awesome feedback on it so far. So let me pull this up really quick for everyone to see. So this is a sample report that I've created for Jake Johnson, who is our owner-operator of Mankey Funeral and Cremation Center. So I do have the permission from Jake to share this data with all of you today. But you can see here we have survey stats December. So it does break it down, your net promoter score, your overall performance score, your total value index, all of those key metrics for you to view. Then your response rate. You can see with the directional arrows as well, it does indicate a difference from the previous month. So you can see the response rate did go down from the month prior. So that would be from November. And then a number of surveys received, number of surveys sent, email, mobile collection. That can stay in front of your face all the time, which is super important. That has a lot to do with what I'm going to talk about today about, making sure your data is off right. So then we have our year-to-date stats, so you can keep an eye on that bigger picture. This is really important for you guys who are in incentive compensation plans. Maybe you have one with our business consulting team, or you guys just do your own bonus structure internally and incorporate the survey scores into that, letting you guys know what some of your averages are currently in the system. Now, it's interesting with this report because depending on your user role level, you'll be able to see different things. So this is Jake's, it's an executive level, it's the entire company rolled up together. So that's Minky and Arizona Online Cremations. Whereas, if you have a five location operation, and you have this executive level, it'll show you all of this rolled up into one. Now alert stats. So how many alerts you guys received in the month and then again in the year. But something that I wanted to show you on this report is the attachment itself. So let me get this pulled up here. This is a great example of a survey response. It shows you all of the a breakdown of what was answered on the survey, the contract information obviously here at the top, the date the survey was responded to, which is super helpful. You can see the overall score here in the top right-hand corner, and then all of the comments left at the bottom here. You can see lead generation. They were interested in permanent memorials, so that's an automatic lead to touch base with the family again. Testimonial was not permitted, so that means the family does not want any comments they left to be used as a testimonial. And you can see all of the December results in this attachment. So any surveys that were returned into December will be on that attachment. And that's something that's available every month. So just keep that in mind if you're a current user. And definitely let me know if you're not receiving this report. Every user should be receiving it. So you might just not be opted in, and I can definitely help you with that if you need me to. We do have a new program available. It's something that, we did quite a while back, and then we actually brought it back into our services last year. Stay Connected. It's an aftercare greeting card program to help continue family relationships post-service. And of course, we do have our SMS aftercare system still too for aftercare services as well. But if you are interested in joining Stay Connected, just let me know and we can get you more information on that. A new feature that we did launch as well is the client-friendly single sign-on platform. So our SSO is now how everyone is logging into Performance Tracker. It gives you access to all of the products that are available with J3 Tech Solutions, but I think most significantly, it gives you access to all of our enterprise reporting that was in our legacy system, Performance Tracker Enterprise. So those reports that download on PDF, and they were designed by funeral homeowners for funeral homeowners, those are all available to you in this single sign-on platform. So I know all of our current users are using that platform now. If you need help navigating it, managing the management area where you can, adjust alerts for your team members. If you need access, if you need help accessing those sales reports, just let me know and I can definitely get a call scheduled with you to help a little bit more. Now, response rates, super important no matter what time of year it is. But I am going to brag a little bit because we closed 2025 off with some record numbers here. So the highest location response rate was 72.7. That's insane. For anyone who is not a current performance tracker client, or for anyone who is, you kind of have an idea of consumer surveys probably in your head. Statistically, a valid response rate for a consumer survey is anywhere between 5 to 10%. And that's in other industries such as, auto, hospitality. Those are the kind of numbers you can expect to receive back. Within the funeral care service, I mean, 30% is amazing for any consumer survey, but it just blew me away when I started with Johnson Consulting Group and I saw, I believe we were in the low 20s at that point, and I saw those numbers. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And they're like, no, actually, we want to be closer to 40%. And now 5 years later, I've been with the company for 5 years. We're almost at that 40%. So our average that we ended 2025 with was 39.6 as the average. So we have done a really great job. And I say we as in the Performance Tracker X community, all of the current clients that are using the platform, at collecting mobile number data, collecting email addresses, mentioning the survey to families. So that's a huge part in making sure that you guys are getting valid response rates. I mean, put yourselves in those empathetic shoes that you're all honed in on in this profession. And think if you were receiving a survey after you lost a loved one, you would definitely want a heads up that that was coming. And you would also want to make sure that, it's not spam that's coming to you or anything like that. So definitely mentioning the survey to families, especially from the funeral director or the service representative. It definitely makes a big difference. And then including any visual aids, paper, flyer, or maybe like a laminated copy in the conference area where you meet with families, some sort of physical representation of the family survey invitation. So it's going to be the email that gets sent to families, and you can actually access that in your dashboard. Under the support tab, there is a resources sub area. Let me log in real quick and show that to you. So I'm going to switch my screen here. Click on this little drop down arrow. No matter what your user role is, you do have access to the support tab. So just note that it is there for everybody. You go into the resources sub tab, and you will see some tutorial videos, but below that you get links to the survey itself. You can take a sample survey in the segment that you're looking to take it in, and then the survey invite, and it's a PDF version of that invite, so you can use that as a visual aid to help families know that, hey, this is what you're going to receive, and we would greatly appreciate you sharing your feedback with us. If anyone's interested in receiving like a script or a suggested wording, or having an arranger training with me where I can show your arrangers how it best naturally fits in conversations with families, I'm more than happy to do that as well. So just reach out to me for some training if you'd like. Now checking in on your collection rates, I do have a couple of screenshots in this slide deck, but for our purposes today, I am going to bring you out to the live platform in Performance Tracker. That way, you guys can know exactly where to go. So let me switch my role here, and I'm going to go in as Minky's executive, because I do have permission to share this data with you guys from Jake's funeral home here in Arizona. So I am going to adjust my filter. We're going to look at last year, for example, just because I know that they're going to have a good amount of data in there for that. We're going to go to our survey performance tab here at the very top. Now, just as a reminder for anyone who maybe doesn't log into the system all the time, this top area is going to be your primary navigation bar, the primary sections that you can click into. Then this section below it is going to be the sub tab area. So just make sure whenever you're looking at your survey data, you are clicked into the appropriate segment. I am going to be looking in funeral right now, but if you have a cemetery or if it's only cremation business and you want to click into there, you can absolutely do that as well. And those segments might be blank for some people depending on what kind of operation you have. If you're only a funeral home operation, there's no cemetery business, then that's what you're going to see. So we're in our funeral sub tab. I'm going to scroll below some of these stats, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom here for response rate rankers. Now we have it at the location level, so you can see their online cremation business, their funeral business, and then their pre-need business. So it's going to be funeral at need. And you can see the number of records they've had, their response rate for each of those locations. And then most importantly, in my opinion, their email collection percentage and mobile number collection percentage. Now, I'm not putting Menke on blast. If anything, I celebrate them because they always have terrific scores in here. 40% and above is certainly where we want to be for response rate. Email and mobile collection, I would say if you guys have above 90% on email and mobile collection, then it's time for you to go fully digital if you're comfortable doing that. Fully digital does save you money. It doesn't cost as much as sending paper surveys for those services. And also it ensures that you receive feedback from families in real time. So when someone is upset with a service or someone wants to know more about pre-need services or anything like that, you can reach out to them immediately instead of waiting for the mail to get back to our corporate office, having our team input that, and then it alerts you. So you can know right away. And going digital has been really successful for Menke as well as other locations. So again, it only saves you guys money. It definitely isn't like a hard sell in any other way. I will say we do have some firms that still use paper, and that not only paper, but I will say they still have paper as a backup option, and that does help for organizations that aren't in that like 90 to 100 range for data collection. So just continuing to check on these numbers. Like I said, that monthly survey detail report puts those numbers right in front of your face, which is nice. So just keep an eye on that. And then let me know if you guys want to go digital fully. And then you can see it at the arranger level as well. So not just broken down by location, but broken down by individual funeral director who maybe has an area of opportunity and doesn't usually get an email address from a family. There's a lot of like, I don't want to say the word excuse because it's not an excuse. There are legitimate reasons for not getting contact information. Like you're, more focused on the family's experience and their time of grief and all of that. But making sure you gather that information is going to ensure that we are able to receive feedback from that family later on. And then, you guys can also use those email addresses for internal needs that you might have, maybe marketing or community events, any way to stay in touch with your families afterwards. So just take a look at here. I would definitely, say if anyone's below the average mark, then, have a conversation with them about why we're not collecting those email addresses. But those reports are available to all location managers and executive users in the system, and you can see them anytime. So again, the survey performance primary tab and funeral home sub tab is where you can get that. And as with any report and performance tracker, make sure you are filtered to the correct time frame, correct whatever you want to see in here. If let's say you want to bring it down to a certain contract type or a certain location, anything like that, just make sure your filter is set appropriately. Always hit run in the bottom right-hand corner. Just some housekeeping tips there for you guys. Now I am going to click back to the slide deck just so I can show you guys that I do have a little clip in here as well for the auditing portion, just to, give you guys an idea of what that looks like, and the area where you can find it. But again, for purposes of today and everyone who is watching this recording, I am going to go ahead and show you this live. So we're in the survey performance primary tab again. We're going to go over to the invitation sub tab this time. This is going to be a really excellent way for you guys to audit your data. I would say any data that's, I would recommend doing this on a quarterly basis even. Any data that's being imported into our system, it's either coming directly from your point of sale system. If we have that integration built and you're on, let's say you're on a point of sale that's like Passari or SRS or FDMS, any of the ones that we partner with, it's definitely more than that. then we are most likely gathering your data directly from there. If you're sending us data manually, that kind of puts the power directly in the admin's hands, who's ever sending us that data, and they can really make sure every single case has an email address on it before they send it to us. But just making sure that all of your data is entered into the point of sale system correctly. Once it is imported into our system, we typically cannot change that data unless we go through a data overlay process with our team, which can cost some development hours on the client's end. And that's something that I definitely want to avoid. So making sure that it gets inputted in the front end appropriately is really an important thing. Now, the audit part of what we can do here is we can look at past surveys that have been, or I'm sorry, past records, I should say, that have been imported into our system. So any contracts throughout the year. And we can check on the invitation status on those surveys. So like how many were actually sent, how many, maybe the email bounced. You want to click on this little additional filters plus sign, and then we're going to scroll down to invitation status. Now, clicking on any of these is going to give you a different view. For purposes of today, I'm going to focus on what was not sampled. So what was not sampled in any of these areas. So invalid contact details, that's usually missing email, phone, or a name for the person. Missing or invalid unit, send survey is set to no. So that's going to be where they purposely went in and said, don't send a survey to this family. That's going to be really important for you to look at as a location manager or an executive, especially if your funeral directors have the power to do that in your point of sale system. You want to make sure they're not cherry picking which families are going to receive a survey. And then obviously, I mean, there are cases, maybe something went horribly wrong on site and it's absolutely not appropriate to contact that family again or ask them for feedback. You definitely want to make sure they don't receive a survey, right? So you can opt them out of that. Opt out is if the survey respondent actually has opted out of receiving surveys from us or Medallia, which is the software that powers the survey sending before. So I am also going to click on a hard bounce here. So that's any email address that was clicked incorrectly. But you can see records for the year. 63 of those were not sampled. That's a huge chunk, that's like almost 10% of all the surveys that could have been sent. Some of them were not sent for various reasons. So going through here and taking a look at this data, I know it can be a little daunting, but if you narrow this down even, so if I were to get rid of some of these and then go only what was hard bounced, or only what was, missing an email, phone number. All of these hard bounced. So you just want to take a look at all of that and make sure that everyone's entering in the information accurately in systems. If there's a consistency with if there was like a particular arranger that stood out most in all of this, I would probably be talking to that person as a leader to, see if there's anything I could do to help their process in accuracy of all of this. Invalid contact details. Since Minky is completely digital, I will say that this is most likely no email address and no phone number were collected. And that's exactly what it is, because there's no email address or phone number field up here. So that's a good handful of cases that didn't have any that could have been sampled otherwise. So there's a lot you can do with this auditing tool in here. If you want to do it more more closely with me, I'm happy to do a one-on-one session with you. But just know that this functionality is in your system. It is in your invitations area. Anyone with a location manager or executive role can access this. So definitely take advantage of it. Take a look at your data and make sure it's clean and good to go for the new year. I am filtered to last year's data right now, just so I could give you guys a good sample. But I mean, we're in January right now. Take a look at current month and see what data has been imported so far and see if there's any cases that haven't been sent a survey and why that is. So, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to click on that one. I just wanted to drop down this list. So you can see they already have a few under here that haven't been sampled at all, and then even a bounce. So that's something that can be fixed as you go throughout the year. Now going back to my slide deck. Again, if there's any questions, please put it in the Q&A area or the chat, and I'll definitely get to you shortly here. But I do want to mention our leadership and management training workshop. We do have our spring session coming up, and we still have a couple of slots left. For anyone who's interested, it is a 3-day on-site development management course. So it's on site here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Our two of our lead consultants, Vince and Nelson, they take everyone through this course and really hone in on how to create a leader from someone who might be moving up in the ranks in your company, and you really want the next generation to learn the management side of things. So it's a really great course. If you're interested in learning more about it or any of the BCS services, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can put you in touch with a consultant who can help you out. As always, we do have our Performance Tracker X Awards coming up. I say as always, meaning as always at the beginning of the year, we have these awards coming up. So you will soon find out the results of the 2025 Performance Tracker Awards. We are seeing if some January responses do trickle in from the December cases. But once we run these reports, we will, alert the winners, send a press release, and share with the entire JCG communication community. So just a reminder on the different categories of the awards. It is pretty coveted. I'm not just saying that, like, the Arizona contingency of performance tracker users is definitely very competitive with it, I will say. Whenever I see them in person, they're like, I need an award. Tell me how to get it. So webinar archive, this is always available to you in your dashboard. This slide is always at the end of my presentations, just to remind you that these sessions that I do monthly are available to you anytime under your support area in your dashboard. So if you're a current user, or if you're not a Performance Tracker X user yet and you do want access to all this information, it is on YouTube. So you can check it out on Johnson Consulting Group's YouTube channel. Now, as always, just make sure you're sending support tickets into my team. You can message us at support@j3techsolutions.com or submit a ticket through your dashboard, and me and my entire dev team will be able to receive that information, and the appropriate person will get back to you. It's usually me, but if I'm tied up or out of the office or anything like that, another member of our team will jump in and help you out. So I hope you guys had a great session. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Q&A section to make sure I address any questions. Okay, Ross DeJohn. Hi, Ross. I hope you're doing well. He asked a question. For all of these best practices, do you have written SOPs you can share with us to implement fully and measure processes? I do actually have a SOP document that I worked on last year during a tea time. I can get that over to you, Ross. But yes, best practices for certainly mentioning surveys to families, collecting mobile numbers and email addresses. I will get you that documentation. We definitely have that available to you. And if anyone else here listening is interested in that too, if you're a current client, I can definitely send that over to you. Just let me know. Well, I appreciate everyone joining today. It looks like we're ending right on time, and I love it when that happens. I'm so happy because I usually tend to go a little bit over on these. But thank you guys for joining. I hope you have a great afternoon, and please reach out to me if you have any questions. Anyone who did register for this event will receive a recorded copy of this presentation, as well as the slide deck that I shared today. So I hope you all have a great afternoon, and thank you again for joining.